Good morning, everybody. Today we're at Psalm 11. I trust in the Lord for protection. So why do you say to me, fly like a bird to the mountains for safety? The wicked are stringing their bows and fitting their arrows on the bowstrings. They shoot from the shadows at those whose hearts are right. The foundation of law and order have collapsed. What can be righteous, or what can the righteous do? I feel like this is so true in every day and age. I always heard my grandparents saying every generation gets more wicked and wicked. And this is something that we definitely saw with Sodom and Gomorrah. And then I feel like it's just things that people found wicked, unholy, unacceptable. They continually become the new normal of what's accepted in life. And we can't have that. We have to set a standard and stand for God and what He's telling us above everything else. In the first line that says, I trust in the Lord for protection. How many times do we get anxious about things in life? How many times do we have problems and we're like, oh, I don't know if I'm safe in this situation or not. I had some traumatic things as a child, and it was this doorway that allowed anxiety and fear to creep into my life. And we didn't know what it was at the time. When I was in kindergarten and first grade, my mom would take me to school and I would literally have panic attacks. And we didn't know what a panic attack was at the time. But I would have these horrible panic attacks. I'd be crying. I would start throwing up. It was this horrible thing because I was so afraid to be away from my parents because of something that had happened when I was 3 or 4. It was like I couldn't handle it. And being at such a young age, I didn't know how to process it. This was something that, my parents had tried to get me help for, but we were all naive to it and didn't know what to do. And I was listening to a podcast of a friend of ours that's an evangelist, and he was talking about the origin of that name, panic attack. And Panic was a deity in the ancient, I think it was Babylon, or it was somewhere over there. He was this ancient deity, and he filled this man, and people were so scared to go around this man because of how he acted and the demon manifesting in him that they called it a panic attack, because this demon would come and attack them, like try to claw out their eyes, even killing people. And it was called a panic attack because panic would attack them. But then it becomes mainstream that people say, oh, I'm having a panic attack. And, they're speaking those word curses over themselves and speaking anxiety into their life. And it was something that I really, really struggled with for a long time. For such a long time, I struggled with anxiety and fear. And this is something that I've just recently started getting a handle on. I am 37 years old, and I am just recently getting a handle on this. And I know so many people who have struggled with this too. But there's freedom in God. There is freedom. I'll have to talk about this another time, but we were taking some evangelism classes, and there were a lot of things in me that I didn't realize were just holding on and clinging for dear life. And it was like these footholds that the devil had tried to get. And, you've got to seal up your house and get it ready for the return of the Lord. It says, but the Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord still rules from heaven. He watches everyone closely, examining every person on earth. The Lord examines both the righteous and the wicked. He hates those who love violence. He will rain down blazing coals and burning sulfur on the wicked, punishing them with scorching winds. For the righteous Lord loves justice. The virtuous will see his face. And this goes right along with what I was saying, that every generation gets more wicked, it seems, and things that weren't acceptable in the prior generations are now. This is a huge thing that we saw with Roe versus Wade, where killing of innocent children was illegal previously. And then all of a sudden it's overturned by the Supreme Court and you can do it. And we saw so much wickedness coming on the earth in the 60s and 70s after that, and it continues. The Lord is a righteous God who has a righteous anger, and he is going to have his justice in his way throughout all the earth. Everybody else just better sit back because he's going to do it no matter what. And we've got to be righteous and holy before him. I was just listening to this song as I was just doing my Bible reading and getting lunches together for the day. And it says, I see the Lord seated on the throne, and the train of his robe fills the temple. And the angels gather around and cry, you are holy, oh so holy, Lord of all. And I feel like so many times throughout our day and in our lives, we forget what a holy God we have, what a holy God we serve, and that he is the one who deserves the glory and the honor and the praise.